Okay, good afternoon everyone. So, do you have any queries related to the previous day's class? If you have, ask me first. Okay, so in the previous class, I have completed the phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross. Genotypic ratio of dihybrid cross is left. So today first I will show you the genotypic ratio of dihybrid cross. For that I have to make the Punnett square or checkerboard again. Everyone, I hope all of you have done this one in your copy. So I am writing it again. What were the gametes? 4 capital R capital Y, capital R small r capital Y and small y. On the left side again the same. Okay, now I am writing it. Now we have to solve the genotypic ratio. Okay, you will tell me what we have to write in this particular ratio. Okay, first how you have to do, you know these are the genotypes, so we know the ratio of the phenotype is 9:3:3:1 and we have got 4 possible combinations: round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow and wrinkled green, and the ratio is 9:3:3:1. And like that today we will find out the genotypic ratio. Okay, so how you have to write it down? Genotypic ratio first we will consider one by one like that. Okay, so first I am consider this one, capital R capital I capital Y capital Y. What is the number of this particular genotype in this box? From this boxes, so number is 1. Next I will consider this one. Okay, capital R capital Y small y. The number is 1 2. So 2 number is 2. Okay, so next one you will tell me. Everyone try to do it is by your own. Next one is this one, capital R small r capital Y capital Y. What is the number? Tell me. Everyone try to do it. Find it out. Capital R small r capital Y capital Y. What will be the ratio for this one? Very good, 2. So, one is here and another one is here. Okay, very good. So, again 2. Next, this one, capital R small r, capital Y small y. Now, tell me, what is the number? Capital R small r, capital Y small y. What will be the number? Very good. So, this one, this one, this one and this one. So, the ratio is 4. So, completed. Next, this one, capital R, small y. Number? capital R, small y. 1. Okay, let me check. This one. Yes, right, 1. Next, capital R, small y. Tell me the number for this one. Capital R, small y, 2. Okay, so 2, we have got 2. Next, I am writing here. Next one is this. Small r, capital Y. Number? Small r, capital Y. Yes, very good. So, next. Small r, capital Y, small y. Number? Very good. So, again number is 2 and the last one is small y. Last one is 1. So, the genotypic ratio is 1:2, 2:2, 2:4, 1:2, 2:1, 2:1. Okay, now tell me, if I say only this one, that if I ask you that what is the genotypic ratio, if you answer like this, that 1:2, 2:2, 2:4, 1:2, 2:1, 2:1. Will it be okay? Your answer will be correct or not? Tell me. Why, Ishanur? Tell me why you are saying no. I want to know the reason. Because we didn't count according to characteristics. What do you want to mean? I didn't get, Chetna. Yes, Anindo, you can ask. Difference between genotype and phenotype. Phenotype means the observable characters. Okay, and genotype means the genetic constituents. Observable characters means, look, whatever we can see, like the man is tall, the man is short, the plant is having red color flower. So these are observable characters. So these are the phenotypes. And genes which are present inside the body of any plant or any living organism, this is called as the genetic constituents. And this, when we will consider the genetic constituents, that time it is called as genotype. Okay, and genotype can be defined by this. Okay, by the alphabets. And how? Dominant letter will be written. For dominant we have to write the in capital, and for recessive we have to write it down in short, small letter. Clear on it now? So you are saying no. Yes, if I say only the numbers, the answer will be wrong, because I don't know that what genotype you have considered. You may consider this one first, this one second. So your ratio and my ratio will not be same. So always try to, you have to write down the parameters also. Okay. First you have to mention this one, and after that you have to tell the numbers. Like if I ask the genotype of the dihybrid cross, if you have to say capital R, capital Y 1 is to capital R, capital Y, small y is to 2, like that. Okay, you have to mention the parameter. So let me check we have done it right or wrong. So 2 plus 1 3 plus 2 5 plus 4 9 plus 1 10 plus 2 12 13 14 15 16. So 16 boxes were there. So that is the genotypic ratio of dihybrid cross. Okay. So Mendel has performed this one, and after that this crosses has been performed in the animals also, like guinea pig. Okay, and from this monohybrid and dihybrid cross, Mendel has concluded some laws. So now I will first tell you the different laws. From the monohybrid cross, Mendel has concluded about 2 laws. First one I have written on the board, that is law of dominance. Okay. So what is the meaning of this one? That you can see that when the plant was in heterozygous condition in F1 generation, so plants was showing its dominant characteristics. That means the dominant one will express, that means the plant will be tall. Okay, so that law is considered as law of dominance. So I am saying what is the law, that is out of a pair of contrasting characters brought together in an offspring, one always dominates over the other. Okay, the one that expressed is dominant and the one that remains masked is recessive. Okay, that means when Mendel crossed homozygous parents, he derived the law of dominance by in the F1 generation. Okay, so that is the law of dominance. And next law is law of segregation. This one also derived from the monohybrid cross. What is the law? As it is a law and given by Mendel, so actual law, if we want to write the actual law, then you have to write it down in double inverted quotation, within the quotation. Okay. So what is the law? That is, from a pair of contrasting characters, only one is present in a single gamete and one character is dominant and the other recessive in F1, and in F2 these characters are segregated in the ratio of 3:1. So in the F1 generation, what we have seen, in the F1 generation we have got this one. So in the F1 generation all the plants were tall because they are following the law of dominance. But when we have crossed it, cell pollination has been taken place. What we have got in the F2 generation, we have got in the F2 generation, that is 2 type of plants. Okay, that means we can say, so all the plants were tall, tall is to dwarf. In the F1 generation we have got 3:1 ratio. Okay, so as in the F1 generation we didn't get any expression of this small t, but in the F2 generation we have got 3 tall plant and 1 dwarf plant. That is the meaning of the law of segregation. Okay, so as we can see that if in the F2 generation, if we take a red flower plant and white flower plant, so what we will get, at we can do it with this one also, and we can take any other characteristics for monohybrid cross. Okay, but these 2 laws are having some means after Mendel some scientists has proved that somehow these laws are wrong. How? There are some laws after the Mendel, these are called as deviations of Mendelism. These are incomplete dominance, co-dominance, like these. There are some deviations are there, that is not in your syllabus, but let me tell you just one example, that what we are getting, that only 2 types of plant, that is tall and dwarf. In a plant that is called that's name is snapdragon, and it is having red and white colored flower. Okay, when crossed between these 2 plants, one is having red and another one is having white plant. The F2 generation, what they have got, 1:2:1 ratio. One they have got pure red, last one they have got pure white, and the middle one 2 they have got pink. Okay, so that is the hybrid condition. That is the hybrid condition between the mixture of red and white. So that is the deviation of Mendel's law, that is called as incomplete dominance. Okay, and another one example is codominance. Like if we cross a white colored cow with a brown colored cow, then we may see that a cow is having white body and brown spots over the body. Okay, so that means they are expressing both the dominant characters. So that criteria is considered as codominance. Okay, so these you will read in the higher classes. I am just giving you some idea. Okay, and the third important law is law of independent assortment. Law of independent assortment. This law has been yes, Somra, law of segregation means in the F1 generation we have seen that all the plants were tall. They were expressing the only dominant characteristics, but whenever they are crossing it with the same plant, and in the F2 generation what we are getting? 3 tall, 1 dwarf. Okay, so that is in the F2 generation we are getting both the dominant and recessive characters. So at the time of segregation this type of characteristics can be seen. That is considered as law of segregation. And the third law is law of independent assortment. So what is the law? That I am telling you the law first, that when there are two pairs of contrasting characters, then the distribution of each pair to the gametes is independent of the distribution of the other pair of characters, or each pair of characters may combine either of the one another pair. Just I am giving you one example. From this example it will be clear to you that Mendel concluded, what he has concluded, that round form doesn't always remain with the yellow, but it can combine with the greenness as well. Similarly, wrinkle form can go with yellowness. So as we are starting it with the round yellow and wrinkle green, so at the time of separation or formation of gametes, ultimately when we will get the genotype, we can see that we are getting 4 possible combinations. So it is not fixed that round one only with combined with yellow. Round one also can combine with green. Like this one, wrinkled one only will not combine with green. Wrinkled one will also can combine with the yellow. Okay, so that is no fixed case. Anyone can combine with anyone. So that means they are independent. That's why this law is called as independent assortment law. Okay, so these 3 laws are given by Mendel after the discovery of this monohybrid and dihybrid cross. Okay, as you know that today time is very short, and that's why I am telling it quite fast. Just read it at your home. If you face any problem after the puja vacation, I will explain it once again. Okay. So next one thing let me tell you, and with that today we will complete the chapter, that is sex determination in human. That one also you know because I have discussed in the previous chapter also. So in case of human, as we know that male and female body are different, that means human is unisexual. For male and female they are having, for male and female reproductive system they are having different structures. Okay, so from the female what we will get? We will get egg or female gamete, and from the male we will get male gamete or sperm. Okay, so what will be the genotype or possible combination of that a baby will be boy or girl? How this can be determined? We have to know this one. As you know that in case of female, the in our body, two types of chromosomes are present. What are they? Autosomes and allosomes or sex chromosome. Okay, so in human, in any organism, the chromosome number is fixed. So in human it is 46, or we can call it 23 pairs. Among them 24, we can write it like that, 24 plus 2. So 24 is the autosome or body chromosome. Okay. So 22 pairs are body chromosome or autosome, and one pair is sex chromosome or allosome. Okay. And this chromosome is different in case of both male and female. So in case of female, the sex chromosome are XX, but in case of male, it is XY. Okay. So what will be the gametes can be produced from this one, XX, and it is XY, right? So from this we can see that this is having the same, that's why it can call it homogametes or homogamety, and this one, as they are having two different, it is called as heterogamety. Okay. So from this we can say this one also, that for the determination of the sex of the child, females are having no choice as they are having both the X's. So the sex of the child will be determined by only by the male, because they are having two different gametes. So now if we write it like that, we can do it in the checkerboard also. We are writing the female gametes and male gametes here. So what we will get? So what is the chances of having XX genotype? You can say that is 2 and XY 2. So 1:1. So chances are 50%. Okay, so having a male child or female child, that is totally a chance factor, and the chances are equal. This is the 50%. Okay, and that is if a child is having this XY chromosome, then the child will be boy, and if the child is having XX chromosome, the child will be girl. Okay, so that is how so what will be the sex of the children is determined. Okay, so I am repeating that this is inheriting from the father. A child who is a boy, they will inherit the Y chromosome from the father and X chromosome from the mother. It is fixed, because boys always will have a Y chromosome, and that they will get from the father, and it is fixed that from the mother they will get the X chromosome. Okay. So that is how the sex can be determined in case of human. Okay. So for today that's it. If you face any problem regarding this topic, you can ask me after the puja vacation, and I will again discuss this portion after the puja vacation. Okay, so our chapter is completed now. I will suggest you that read that chapter in your puja vacation. So everyone, bye bye for today, and happy puja. Stay safe, stay well, and if you are going out, so you should wear mask. Okay, don't forget that one. And I will suggest you that for this puja you should stay at home for your own safety and your parents. Okay, so thank you everyone, and happy puja. Bye bye. And everyone, write your name so that I can take your attendance. Okay.